Okay, before I tell this, I need to say something. I've tried to explain this in a way that makes sense. I really have. But every time I go back to that night, it stops making sense all over again. And I don't think it's supposed to. This happened when I was 19. Overnight shift at a 24-hour gym. 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Dead hours. Empty building. Just me, the machines, and the cameras. Most nights were nothing. A few regulars, some late-night lifters, maybe one guy who stayed too long on the bench press pretending to text. You learn the rhythm of a place like that. You learn what normal looks like. And that's how you know when something isn't. It was just after 2 a.m. when I saw him. Back corner, Treadmill. I don't remember him coming in, didn't hear the door, didn't see a check-in. He was just there, running. I pulled up the machine stats, 9 miles an hour. Fast, but fine. Except 10 minutes passed, then 15, then 20. No change, no slowdown, no adjustment, just constant. That's when I leaned in and really looked at him. His clothes were wrong, torn, dirty, like he'd been outside for days. His hair hung in his face, wet, not with sweat. And his expression, nothing. No effort, no pain, no focus, just empty. And then I saw his feet. He wasn't wearing shoes. Bare skin on a moving belt at 9 miles an hour for 20 minutes. The belt wasn't just red, it was coated, thick, dark, and every step made this wet slapping sound that I could hear even through the monitors, like something peeling away. And he didn't react. Not once. That's when something hit me. Not fear, not yet. Something worse. The feeling that whatever I was looking at wasn't fully aware of being human anymore. I told him to stop. Once, twice, louder. He didn't move. And then he spoke. "Are you still there?" Not to me. I swear to God, not to me. He said it like I didn't exist, like I wasn't even in the room. I froze, and he said it again. "Are you still there?" Same tone, same pace, no breath, no strain. Like something was speaking through him, checking if something else was still listening. I backed away. I didn't think, I just moved. Got to the office, shut the door, locked it. And I checked the cameras. He was looking straight at me. Head turned, eyes locked on the lens. Mouth still open, still running. And then he smiled. Not wide, not exaggerated. Just enough to show he knew I was watching. And then the scream came. I have never heard anything like it. It didn't sound human. It sounded layered, like more than one voice trying to come out at the same time. He stepped off the treadmill, didn't slow down, didn't stop it, just stepped off and started running. Cameras, gone. Next camera, gone. Next, gone. I was flipping feeds as fast as I could, and then employee hallway. He was right outside my door, 6 feet away, standing still, head tilted slightly, like he was listening to something on the other side. The handle moved, then it slammed, again, Again, harder. The whole door shook. He was screaming again, those same layered sounds, like something was trying to force its way through him. I called 911. I don't even remember what I said, just that someone was trying to get in. And then it stopped. No footsteps, no breathing, nothing. Just silence. The police searched everything. Blood everywhere. Trail to the hallway. But no man.
No exit. No break-in. No explanation. I quit that morning. But that's not what stayed with me. It's the way he asked it. Over and over. Are you still there? Because he wasn't asking me. And something made him stop screaming. Which means something answered. My name is Daniel. I've worked the overnight window at a gas station for about 3 years now. Not exactly living the dream, but it pays rent, and honestly, I've made peace with it. It's one of those 24-hour spots right off the highway, the kind that gets truckers, insomniacs, and the occasional person who is clearly making some very questionable life decisions at 2 in the morning. I fit right in. I work 11 at night to 7 in the morning, 5 days a week. Most of the time, nothing interesting happens. Someone argues with me about lottery tickets. A college kid tries to buy beer with an ID that expired in 2019. The usual highlights of a fulfilling career. But about 6 weeks ago, something started happening that I still can't wrap my head around. And the more I think about it, the less I want to. It started on a Tuesday. Around 2 in the morning, a car pulled up to my window. Old silver sedan, nothing remarkable. The guy inside paid for $40 in gas and a bottle of water. Young guy, maybe late 20s, baseball cap pulled way down low. He paid cash, took his change, pulled to the pump, filled up, and left. Totally normal. The kind of customer I forget about before they even leave the lot. The next night, he was back. Same car, same cap, same $40, same water. I figured, okay, he works a route out this way. Night shift somewhere. It happens. Gas stations get regulars. I didn't give it a second thought. Then he came back the night after that. And the night after that. Every single night for 2 weeks straight. Not once did he miss. Always between 1:30 and 2:30. Always the same order, always cash. And that cap, always pulled so low I genuinely could not tell you what this man's face looked like. At this point, I'd started thinking of him as my guy, in a non-creepy way, or what I thought was a non-creepy way. By the second week, I started paying more attention to him. He never spoke first, never small-talked, never asked for anything extra. He'd slide his cash through the gap, take his change and his water, and pull around to pump 3. Always pump 3, even on nights when every single other pump was free. He'd fill up, get back in his car, and just sit there for a few minutes, in the dark, at the pump. Just sitting. And look, I know that sounds a little odd, but people are weird at 2 in the morning. I include myself in that. I once spent 20 minutes watching a moth fly in circles outside the window because there was nothing else going on. I wasn't in a position to judge anybody. So I kept not thinking about it. right up until the 15th night, when everything changed. He pulled up like always, slid the cash through the slot. I was making change, counting it out, completely on autopilot. And then he spoke. Not to order anything, not to ask a question. He just said, quietly, "You shouldn't be here tonight, Daniel." I stopped counting. My name is not on anything. No name tag. I have never worn one. I think they're stupid. There's no sign in the window, no employee list, nothing a customer could see that has my name on it. I looked up, trying to get a look at his face, but the cap was still pulled down, and his hand was already pulling back from the slot. I said, "Excuse me?" He looked straight ahead, said it again, "You shouldn't be here tonight." Then drove to pump 3. I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know if it was a threat, a warning, if this guy was messing with me or if he just wasn't all there. I watched him on the camera. He filled up, sat in the car, and then, instead of leaving, he got out. He walked to the far edge of the parking lot, not toward the store, just to the place where the floodlights end and the dark starts. And he stood there, facing the road, not moving, not on his phone, just standing at the edge of the light, staring out at the highway. I watched him for 10 full minutes on that monitor, and he did not move once. I want to be very clear that at this point, I was considering calling the non-emergency line just to have someone to talk to. And then a car blew the red light at the intersection across the street and plowed into another vehicle. It wasn't fatal, but both cars were destroyed, and I heard the impact from inside. I grabbed the phone to call 911, and when I looked back at the monitor, he was gone. His car was gone. No headlights pulling out of the lot, nothing. Just an empty pump 3 and 2 wrecked cars across the street. I've told myself it was a coincidence maybe 100 times. He couldn't have known that crash was going to happen. That's not something a person can know. But I keep coming back to the way he said it. Not drive safe, not be careful out there. You shouldn't be here tonight. Specific. Personal. Like he knew exactly what was about to happen and exactly where I was sitting. He hasn't come back. I keep waiting for him to, and I genuinely don't know if I want him to, or if that would be worse. A few years ago, I was doing overnight security at a warehouse complex outside the city. I was 27, 6 months into the job. And look, I'll be honest, the job was incredibly easy, almost embarrassingly easy. Clock in, do a perimeter walk, sit in the security office, watch the monitors, do it again every hour, go home. I used to bring a book. I used to finish the book. There was genuinely nothing to do most nights, and I had gotten very, very comfortable with that. The complex was 4 connected warehouse buildings on the south side of the city. Industrial storage, metal shelving the size of houses, loading docks along the back, the whole thing. Nothing nearby. Dead quiet at night. My shift ran 11 to 7, and I was always alone on site. Always. Just me, a flashlight, a radio, and 10 cameras I mostly watched to have something to look at. The night it all went sideways started completely normal. Late winter, light snow, no big deal. I did my first walk at 11:30, everything locked and secure. Settled in with my coffee and my book. Around 1 in the morning, camera 4, one of the loading dock cameras, tripped a motion alert. I checked the feed. Empty dock. Snow drifting through the floodlights. Nothing there. I figured it was the wind, reset the alert, went back to my chapter. Then it went off again. 10 minutes later. Same camera. I checked. Nothing. Again. Nothing. By 2 in the morning, it had gone off 6 times, and every single time it was only that camera. And every single time, whatever triggered it seemed to be just at the edge of the frame. Not fully visible, just at the edge. I told myself it was a raccoon. I really wanted it to be a raccoon. By 2:30, I decided to go out and look myself. Snow had mostly stopped. The whole complex was completely silent. I walked the full dock area, checked every bay door, checked the perimeter, shone my light along the building wall. Nothing. No footprints in the snow except mine. I went back inside. 20 minutes later, I heard it. A metallic scraping sound, deep and slow, like something enormous being dragged across a concrete floor, coming from inside the warehouse. I pulled up the interior cameras, all 6 aisles, empty, every one. I cycled through them twice. Nothing, just rows of industrial shelving and my own rising anxiety. I told myself it was the building. Metal expands, contracts, temperature does things. I almost convinced myself. An hour later, it happened again. Louder this time. The scraping and then a hard bang. Metallic, sharp, like something striking the inside of a door. I went through the cameras again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clear. 6. The deepest aisle. Black screen. 3 seconds of static, and then it came back. But the angle was slightly different. Just a few degrees, but different. Someone had physically touched that camera and moved it. And just like that, my book was no longer a priority. I grabbed my flashlight and radio and went into the warehouse, and it was massive in a way that felt different at 3 in the morning than it did at noon. Long aisles, overhead lights dimmed to almost nothing, everything bathed in this pale yellow half-light that turned every shadow into a shape. I walked slowly down the main aisle, flashlights sweeping left and right. Nothing. I was halfway in when I heard the footsteps. Not close, but clear. 2, maybe 3 aisles to my left, moving in the same direction I was, at the same pace. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I stood in that aisle and I listened, and the silence was so complete I could hear my own heartbeat doing things it probably shouldn't. Whatever was on the other side of that shelving, it had stopped the exact moment I stopped. It was listening too. I called out, loud and firm, the way they'd trained us, announced myself as security, said to show yourself. Nothing. I walked to the end of the aisle, turned left, went up the next one. Empty. Turned left again into the aisle where the footsteps had been. Empty. Just shelving and shadow all the way to the back wall. I did the whole warehouse. Every aisle, every corner, every door. Every single access door was still locked from the inside. No open windows, no broken seals, No sign that anyone had gotten in or out. I found absolutely nothing. I reported it in the morning. Maintenance came, did a full inspection, couldn't find anything either. No explanation for the camera, nothing moved or missing. I could tell they thought I'd spooked myself. And honestly, standing there in the daylight with everyone around, I almost started to agree with them. But at 3 a.m, in that warehouse, I heard footsteps that matched mine, step for step. And when I stopped, they stopped. That doesn't happen by accident. Whatever was in there knew where I was, and it deliberately stayed out of sight. What I still can't get past, it had plenty of opportunity to do something. It was alone with me in that building for a long time, and it chose not to. I keep telling myself that's a good thing. I'm not entirely convinced. So I'm 25, and I'm one of those people who got a degree and then immediately discovered that the degree was basically decorative. Communications, very useful, extremely applicable. In the meantime, I drive for DoorDash and Grubhub, sometimes both in the same night if I'm feeling ambitious, which I rarely am. It's not glamorous, but the hours are flexible, and I genuinely don't mind driving at night. There's something about being out when everyone else is asleep that I've always liked. The roads are empty, the world feels like it belongs to you. I do most of my driving on weekends, Friday and Saturday, 9 at night until 2 or 3 in the morning. That's when the orders come in and the tips are decent. This happened on a Saturday about a month ago. It was around midnight. I'd already done a bunch of runs and I was close to calling it when I got a long one. Pick up downtown, drop off way out on the east side, past the last suburb, past the streetlights, out where it's just flat, dark roads and farmland, and you start wondering if GPS actually knows where it's taking you. The fare was good, so I took it. The drop-off was totally fine. Nice woman, good tip, very normal. But by the time I left her place, it was almost 1:30, and I was somewhere I'd never been before. No other cars, no lights except mine. I turned around and started the 40-minute drive back. About 15 minutes in, I saw a pickup truck on the shoulder with hazards blinking. 2 people standing next to it, waving both arms at me. And here's the thing, my first instinct was to keep going. It really was. Every true crime podcast I've ever listened to basically starts with someone who didn't trust that instinct. But I can't just drive past someone who might actually need help. So I slowed down, pulled up about 20 feet away, and rolled my window down halfway. The woman came toward my car immediately, fast, and she started talking right away. Said there was a bridge out about 2 miles ahead, said it had partially collapsed earlier that evening, that they'd nearly gone over it themselves. She was animated, urgent, and almost everything about it seemed genuine. Except the delivery. There was something slightly off about the rhythm of how she was talking, like she'd found the right words a while ago and had been saying them ever since. The man came up behind her and described a turnoff about a mile up the road, a narrow fire road through the woods, he said. Comes out the other side, back on the highway. Adds maybe 20 minutes, but it's the only way around the bridge. Cool. A dirt road into the woods. At 1:30 in the morning, after 2 strangers on an empty highway told me to take it. Honestly, what could go wrong? I thanked them, and I drove. And I did not take the turnoff. I don't know how to explain what made me keep going. It wasn't one specific thing. It was the speed she walked toward my car, the way the speech felt worn in. the way neither of them seemed particularly relieved that I'd stopped, like my stopping was just the expected outcome of a process they'd done before. So I kept going straight, and I got to where the bridge was supposed to be. It was fine, completely intact, no damage, no barriers, nothing. I drove across it without even slowing down, made it back to the highway, and drove home. I didn't sleep. I kept running through it. A single-lane dirt road deep in the woods in the middle of the night because two strangers I'd never met told me a lie about why I needed to go there. I don't know what was at the end of that road, and I realize I'm probably romanticizing it. Maybe it just led to someone's farm and I'd have felt like an idiot. But I don't think so. A few days later, curiosity got the better of me. I drove back out there in the afternoon, found the turnoff they'd described, narrow dirt road disappearing into the trees, exactly as described. And right at the entrance, nailed to a post, a sign. No exit. That sign was not there before. I drove past that spot in the dark and my headlights would have caught it. I was looking, I was paying attention. Someone put that sign up between that night and the afternoon I went back. Whether they put it there to warn people or because something happened and they needed to manage it quietly, I genuinely don't know. I sat with my window down for a while, just looking at the road. In the daylight, it was just trees. Very nice trees, honestly. Great foliage. But I didn't get out of the car. I'm not going back. Because I keep thinking about those two people. Standing on that highway in the dark, waiting. How many drivers stopped before me, and which ones took the road?